far away.
It seems like that,
I
doesn't
feel like
it?
we're like really far away.
Well, it's back to school.
Can't believe it already.
So today we're going to be talking about some considerations for both kids and teachers during this school year. Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Michael Squires.
And I'm Dr. Carly Squires.
This is Dr. Squires Squared.
This is a channel where we have candid and casual conversations about anything and everything audiology.
And if you're not sure what audiology is, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Help us grow it a little bit. Make sure to click the button to get our notifications. We'll tell you all about it.
That's right. All right, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about back to school. So there's a lot of excitement brewing right now and maybe a little bit of anxiety getting back into the school year. I think that happens year to year, but it's a lot different this year with everything going on with the coronavirus. So we thought we'd just take a few minutes on this episode to discuss some considerations if you have a child that's going back to school that has communication or hearing difficulties in the classroom, or you have concerns about virtual learning and how they're going to hear and communicate what that means. And then also for teachers that may have some hearing difficulties in the classroom or via virtual learning.
Yeah, we do have quite a few patients who are teachers in our local school systems, and our practice contracts with local school system to provide audiology services to children in that school system. So I think it's really important with everything that's happening this year through the pandemic and all of the changes that have been made and all the new stuff that's happening, incorporating virtual learning. What does it look like for a child or a teacher with hearing impairments? Well, there's a couple considerations that we'd like to talk about, mainly in the classroom. So the classroom is an incredibly dynamic environment anyway. So one that's usually difficult for a hearing impaired child or an adult to kind of deal with on a day-to-day basis. But now with masks and the limitations that have been put on how people are allowed to move around the schools, it's going to be even more compounding. So a couple things to keep in mind is just accessibility to speech. The masks will make things very difficult, as we have found with many of our patients. But accessibility to speech is so important. Use of technologies in the classroom, like an FM system, so that the teacher's voice can be literally just put right into the child's ears through their hearing devices, is so important. It helps to overcome the barriers that are put in place by distance, social distanced, or barriers like the masks or things like that.
Yeah, another consideration, just thinking of the masks in general, is we could look at some of those clear masks where you can see the person's face, get a little more facial cues, reading lips, or consider use like a facial shield that the student could then see your face if you're a teacher. I think those are some good considerations for in the classroom.
Yeah, definitely. And one last one is anything visual is always going to be more helpful. So if you've got a student, if you are a teacher and you have a student, or there are teachers working with hearing impaired students, writing those instructions out, making sure that they have a visual component to the whole thing is really, really helpful, because it reinforces what the student may or may not have heard.
Right, and I think that's a good segue into the virtual learning experience. If there's many different means for it, but if you have a face-to-face interaction through the computer, I think the face-to-face thing is still something we need to consider. Make sure that if you're a teacher and you're presenting material, make sure that you are close enough to that camera where the student can get a good view of your face. Masks aren't involved in that situation.
Right.
So make sure you're completely visible. Make sure that you're speaking toward the microphone of your computer or your device, so that is a clear signal being sent out into that virtual land for your students. And then on the students' ends, they're going to be using their hearing technologies if they have them at home, like hearing aids, cochlear implants. There are ways that many of those devices can connect to a tablet, a phone, a computer, where that auditory information that the teacher is providing virtually is streaming right to the students' hearing devices. So if you have questions about those things, definitely ask your audiologist, the school system, and find a solution for some of those needs.
And as we're thinking about it, here we are filming a podcast. Let's talk about environmental considerations. When you are, if you are a teacher and you're doing face-to-face or virtual learning, try to manage your environment as much as you can to give the best audio sound quality of your voice. Those students are relying on visual cues, but they're wanting to hear you as well in many cases. So being able to have clear and concise sound quality and good lighting and good visual cues from your face so they can read your lips or things like that are so important.
Yeah. And maybe try to control the reverberation in your classroom as much as you can by getting some different things that absorb sound, more soft kind of materials, like, chairs, pillows. We've got rugs on the walls over here that kind of absorb some of that sound. So acoustic tiles over here. So you can think outside the box, because if you're presenting information to a student that's at home and they're just hearing a bunch of reverberation and echo, that's going to be very, very difficult for them to absorb that information.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about the flip side of it. What if you were a teacher, you're getting ready to go back to school, and you're a little nervous because last year you noticed you were having some difficulty understanding your students? So what now?
Yeah, now we've got masks involved. And it's not going to just affect the students anymore. Now it's going to affect the other people that you work with, or you're going to be affected by the other people you're working with, because everybody's got a mask. From a safety perspective, it's something that we always recommend, is treating a hearing loss. But now we're talking about safety. We're talking about the ability to teach these students in such a time of variability. So make sure that if you do identify those issues, make sure that you contact your primary care doctor and ask for a referral or ask for some help. Find an audiologist. Really get down to it, because now's no better time to treat that hearing loss.
Sure, and there are lots of options. So many options that even exist situationally that may not be a daily use, all day use hearing aid, for example. We might be able to just set something up for the technology or the situation that you find yourself in during your work day.
Right. All right, everybody. So if you are heading back to school, or you are a teacher heading back to school, make sure to read through this or listen through this video and give us any questions that you might have. You're more than welcome to shoot us an email at info@heretobv.com, or give us a call at the office, 304-428-2403. We wish you best of luck going back to school this year with everything that's changing, but we know that it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Have a great school year, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Thanks.